Well. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. It is Friday, and I hope everyone's having an amazing day so far. I'm happy Friday to you. Welcome to Living Today. I am your host, CEO, and founder of Irons Group LLC, and this is where we inspire and empower female school leaders to discover their purpose, find their authentic selves, leverage their strengths, sharpen their skills through perseverance, passion, and teamwork. And I am so excited to bring you all here tonight because guess what time it is? It is Friday Night Highlights. And this is where we highlight a servant leader in the community. And this is our special series where I have been highlighting different people in our community, whether it's a business owner, a person that runs a nonprofit. And this, for the next couple of weeks, we're highlighting young adults. And this week, we are recognizing Ricardo Hawkins. And I'm so excited. Welcome to the show, Ricardo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. So how are you doing, Ricardo?
I'm doing great. There's a lot of people who are struggling nowadays, and I'm very fortunate. I'm still living with my parents. I'm only 20 years old, but I'm really good. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad that you're doing great and that beautiful smile. I'm so glad that you're doing amazing. So I wanted to just tell everybody, about you and basically just honor you for all the work that you've been doing during this time. So let me just give people some background about you, Ricardo. So Ricardo was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and he lived in Italy and Japan. He's also a military child. His sister Maria was on the show last week. If you haven't figured out by now that those two are related. He moved to Maryland when he was 11 years old, and he's been in Maryland ever since. He attended South River High School, and now he's a student at UMBC, same school that his sister attended. He's about to enter his senior year. Yes. Woo!
Yes.
I know, right? Yes, senior year. And when he began UMBC, he started as an engineering student because he had some interest in engineering and also in art, but soon realized that art was really his passion. And then he switched his major to visual arts with a concentration in animation. I thought that was interesting that you signed up for engineering because I remember when you were younger, you were always drawing in those little books and creating comics. So I'm excited that you're pursuing actual passion. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He is also serving currently in his church's media department, doing photography, videography, and he helps with setting up the Sunday services with the live streaming. So how many people know that that's important because that's where we are because of COVID-19. A lot of churches are having to do that. So Ricardo is attending school and also supporting and working at his church at the same time. So that's pretty awesome. So Ricardo, tell me a little bit about your life and what you were doing, at home, school, and all of that before COVID-19 happened.
Yeah. So before the whole pandemic happened, I was mostly just focusing on my schoolwork, and I was a part of different organizations that I like putting my focus into on campus and stuff. Um, yeah, I wasn't really doing much of anything in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you told me that you were a part of the UMBC photography club and also
Yeah.
comics and other media clubs. So tell me a little bit about your work with those clubs on campus. Because as far as
Yeah.
I'm doing something.
Yeah, so I was a part of the creative leadership of both of those clubs, the photography club, and also I helped coordinate events on the comics and other media club. And I wanted to be a part of these clubs because they were something I was passionate about, and I enjoy. I enjoy the activity of photography, and I very much enjoyed the community that came out of UMBC's comic book club. And in that club, we would talk about comics, TV shows based on comics, and movies, and have just fun discussions. Honestly, it was just a way for people to come together and have a good time.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So do you collect any comics? I'm just curious.
Yes, I do. I don't collect as much as I would like to because comics can get expensive, but I do have a couple right here. I love both American comics and Japanese comics called manga. This is an issue of the Naruto manga series, and which I really love. And this one is issue from the Green Lantern series. And
Mhm.
yeah, those are just two of my favorite comics that I love to go back to every once in a while.
So you chose to be a part of two different clubs. So the reason I asked you about comics is my brother, I see my mom is watching. So my brother had crates and crates and crates of comics. I'm telling you. And I think I'm telling you, like I think he probably still has them as I'm speaking to you right now. And he had so many comics. I think my mom at one point wanted to like move him and the comics out of the house because because he had so many comics. So I'm just curious, do you use your photography now in any way, shape, or form? Or do you just, was the photography club just a club, or were you guys engaged in using those tools on campus in any way? Were you engaged in any activities like taking photos for the university or anything like that?
Yes, actually. It started out as a hobby for me. And as I continued to build up my skills with my photography, I would come across opportunities for me to do different things with it. And one of the things that I started doing is I started doing photography for my church and also at UMBC. I applied for a position for the school newspaper, taking photos for different articles that are being made. And that was only in the most recent semester. So because of COVID-19, that got cut short. And so I haven't been able to do much with that as much as I would have liked to. But I hope I get to do that more in the coming semester.
Okay, that's awesome. So let's talk about some of the pivots that you made because we had some conversation about some of the pivots. So how did you adjust to going from, being on campus, being involved in the clubs, and then having to come home? So talk to me about, adjusting to taking classes at home and all of those type of things. What did that look like?
Yeah, it was super interesting. And at first, I was a little bit positive thinking about it because I was starting to get overwhelmed with trying to do so many things and also focus on my schoolwork. So at first, I had thought that it would be good for me to stay home and just focus on my schoolwork. But it turned out to be a lot more difficult than I initially thought it was going to be. And I have issues procrastinating, especially when I ultimately had to go to class and sit in my bedroom, which is where I sleep, and I'm supposed to use my bedroom as a classroom. Yeah,
Right.
it was so like hard to really adjust, and I'm surprised that I pulled through. I really had to persevere and really focus on what I needed to do.
Oh, that's a good word. Here that's my key, a big word for me here at Irons Group LLC. Perseverance is very important. And you said procrastination. Those are two, that's something that you don't want to do when you're in college. So I'm really glad and I'm really proud of you for pushing through and persevering because it's really challenging. Like you said, your bedroom is supposed to be a place to sleep, not necessarily for you to do work. So that's really great that you were able to do that. So let's talk to me a little bit about, you told me that you had wanted to do I think you said something about selling your artwork in the bookstore on campus. Can you share a little bit
Yes.
about that?
Yeah. So for a while now, I had been thinking about what I wanted to do with my art. And ultimately, I wanted to start a business with my paintings and illustrations. And I had an opportunity come to me through one of my friends, actually. He contacted one of the the one of the people in charge of the bookstore on campus, and he had the opportunity to start selling some of his art, and he got me in contact with that person, and we were going to start selling my art in the bookstore in April. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So I still wanted to have a way to start selling my art. So I actually opened up an online shop, and it's actually on my website, ricardohawkins.com/shop. And yeah, that's something that I definitely had to adjust to. Thinking about changing from selling in person to selling online.
Wow. So you guys heard that, right? So so people can purchase your artwork at ricardohawkins.com/shop. So you were able to, that's a great pivot to make. So you weren't able to get it into the school bookstore, but you instead created an online store for yourself. So let me ask you a question. Is that some of your artwork behind you? Did you create all the
Yes,
stuff
it is.
behind you? Oh, that's pretty cool. We'll get to that in a second. So you also told me a little bit about a YouTube channel that you have. So talk to me a little bit about the YouTube channel and what the purpose of the channel is and what you're doing with that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. A lot of kids these days, they'll say, "Oh, I want to start a YouTube channel because, uh, for many reasons." And the reason I wanted to start my own YouTube channel is because I knew I wanted to start a business for myself. And one thing that having a YouTube channel can offer you is it's a place where you can build up your personal brand. And what I do on my YouTube channel is it's a way for me to document the different artistic processes that I go through. So I have made painting videos on my channel. I talked about the artistic processes that I go through. And one of the new things that I'm going to be exploring on my YouTube channel is the animation process. Since I am an animation student, one of the things I'm going to be focusing on is creating an animated short film for my final project. And that's something that I feel like exploring on my YouTube channel would be a great way for me to build up my personal brand and ultimately uh, hopefully attract clients in the future who see the kind of work that I'm able to do.
That's pretty awesome. So you had a comment that said that painting is beautiful. Of course, this person, she loves and cares about you most in life. That's your mom. But
Yes.
that's a really beautiful painting that you do have behind you. So let me ask you a question about animation. So a lot of people watch the Disney Channel, and we watch a lot of cartoons and things like that. But I don't think people understand the work that goes into getting those characters to do things and jump and hop and dance and do all of those little things on screen. So can you share a little bit about animation and what it is and why you're interested in that field?
Yeah. So what I really like about animation is that one of the definitions that they taught us in school is that animation is the process of bringing something to life. And that's such a fascinating concept to me. Using a sequence of images to like evoke life. It's just something that I really like. And I also love storytelling. Ever since I was little, uh, I told you that I love comics. I've tried making comics, and I still do that every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the next step in my progression is to turn those comics into animation. And yeah, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. That definitely answered my question because I do remember you writing in those little books. I think every time we always see you drawing and writing those stories, and that is animation is all about storytelling. I mean, it's you could draw a lot of different series of pictures, but a lot of it is to be able to put that together to tell a story. And storytelling is very important in any, in animation. Those stories would be so boring if you didn't have the right sequence of images and then making sure the story was properly told. I'm thinking of so many different images in my head, different Disney movies that come to my mind. I mean, Mickey wouldn't be Mickey if he wasn't completely done properly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just without the animation and the person who created it. So I like to talk about leadership and all of those things. And so I've never you told me that you've never really had any leadership roles and you don't really see yourself as a leader, but it seems to me that it kind of falls into your lap. Talk to me a little bit about that when sometimes things just show up in your life where you kind of take on a leadership role.
Yeah. So the way I kind of operate is I ultimately try to do my own thing most of the time. And whenever I like try following my passions, what ends up happening is that other people see what I do and they end up showing support. And um, what's interesting is that I'll, in a way, try to help them follow their passions. And it's just, um, sorry, um, people will sometimes look to me as someone who is able to follow their passions. So it kind of says to them that they can also follow their passions, and they end up using me as a guide to see how they can follow their own passions. I hope that makes sense.
That makes total sense. So because you are walking in your purpose and following what you're passionate about, you are someone who basically it's very hard to I'm very glad that you're actually doing what it is you love to do. Because there are a lot of people, Ricardo, old and young, who are still struggling to discover what their purpose is, what they're passionate about, what it is that makes them happy. And you realize pretty quickly, engineering was just not my thing.
Yes.
Art, drawing, this is my thing. And you quickly said, okay, I'm going to switch and do what it is that I'm passionate about. And I, for one, am very happy about that because engineering wouldn't have made sense in for me because I remember seeing you drawing in your comic book. Every time I would talk to you, every time I was in your space, it was all about art, all about comics, all about anything creative. That's what the conversation would be around. I don't ever remember having any conversations with you about engineering ever in life. So
Yeah.
we've
I
never had
actually
this
did enjoy
conversation.
engineering in high school.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I went to South River High School, a part of the
Mhm.
STEM program, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And
Mhm.
I ended up taking the engineering path, and I did enjoy it. I was even on the robotics team that was a part of the high school.
Yes, I remember
But
that.
you know, it wasn't fulfilling, and I wasn't. Even though I did enjoy it, I wasn't passionate about it, and that's ultimately what I discovered as I came into college that I wasn't passionate about engineering.
That and that's good. That's another one of the P's that that's very important here at Irons Group LLC. If you heard, I talked about perseverance and passion here on this is you said both of those words tonight. You know that you had to persevere through a tough time, when you were trying to make that pivot of doing schoolwork at home. And now you're talking about walking and doing what it is that you're passionate about versus doing something that wasn't fulfilling for you. While you enjoy it, it's not something that you were passionate about, which is very important. And I'm just going to leave that right there for those of you who are listening. Thank you so much for jumping on. We're interviewing Ricardo Hawkins, who is our young adult honoree this week. So thank you for those of you who are watching and listening. So, Ricardo, I always ask people to leave us with an iron sharpening thought for the audience members. So is there like a tip that you would have for maybe parents of young adults who are in college, entering college, maybe a tip for your peers or something that you would want to leave with our audience members, something, thoughtful and positive?
Yeah. So my iron sharpening thought is ultimately when you decide to follow your passion, others will end up doing the same. And so I think that you should be prepared to ultimately start a community and lead a community of passionate people who are really desire to do their own thing. And they will ultimately look up to you and see what it means to follow your passion and how to do it successfully.
That's good because as John Maxwell always says, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So, Ricardo, I know you said to me, I'm not really sure I'm a leader. Well, yes, you are because you have influence. And you said it yourself, people follow you because they see you following your passion. So, with that being said, you are a leader because you have influence on those people that are around you, whether that is your little brother, your sisters, or just other young adults and people that you come in contact with, even grown-ups. And I'm sure that tonight you've impacted someone with the words that you said about being passionate. So I'm really excited for people to kind of see some of the things that are behind you. But one of the things I always like to remind everyone, why I like to do these honorary every Friday night, why I do the highlights, is every single leader that we have on here, there are different characteristics that what we use to highlight the leaders. Our leaders that we choose to honor are leaders who are, they're self-aware. The leaders, they are visionary, they are persuasive, they are community builders, they're compassionate, they're visionary, they're extremely intuitive, they're healers, committed to others' growth, and they're persuasive. Ricardo is someone who I've seen as a young person. He's always been extremely intuitive, and he's always committed to, he's not someone who's reactive as a young man, and he thinks a lot of times before he just jumps to responding to things. So I wanted to just bring you on here tonight to just say thank you for all the work that you're doing. I love your creativity, and I love all the different ways that you're serving at church and, using your creativity. I am really happy that you're following your passion, and I'm really excited to see where the next road leads you. So congratulations for being tonight's honoree, and thank you so much for all you do. So give yourself a clap, give him some shouts out there, hearts, everything. Thank you, everybody. So I wanted to give Ricardo, you're welcome. I wanted to give you an opportunity to show us some of the things that's behind you. So kind of like move to the side a little bit and just share, like you could bring that painting forward and just share with people some of the artwork that you do. If you want to just tell us a little bit about that, that would be cool. I don't know if you could put it in the camera a little bit.
Yeah, this is a commission that I'm working on, and it's almost finished. I still have a few things to do with it.
Center it a little bit more so we can properly, yes, into the camera. Okay, good. That's don't worry about hiding your face. Okay, good. Okay, great. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is actually an oil painting of my client's favorite flowers. Her favorite flowers are hydrangeas, and so she wanted me to paint something beautiful for her to hang up in her living room. And yeah, I was having a lot of fun with it. I'm still having a lot of fun with it. I've been working on it for a few weeks now, and it's something that I started a little bit uneasy with, but ultimately as I kept going, it kept getting better and better. And yeah, it was something new to me because I'm using oil paints for this, and I recently shifted from using acrylic paints to oil paints, and that's because I have a little more of a refined process of painting when I use oil paints, because oil paints dry slower.
Okay, gotcha. That's fantastic. I really like that. So what about that painting that kind of looks like you a little bit? That
Yes.
one to the right.
Let's see if I can take it off my wall.
Don't destroy the studio. Oh, cool. You can.
Okay. It's a pretty large
wow.
Yeah, so this one is a portrait of myself. And this one was super important to me because the inspiration of it was it came out of me struggling with what's the word, mental issues. I had different forms of depression and anxiety, and it was really hard for me to deal with. And ultimately, this painting is a representation of me looking forward and not looking to the past and not letting my past define me in any way, and really just looking forward to the future and to see what the future holds for me.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful. So that is a self-portrait really teaching you about showing you moving forward and overcoming something that was tough for you. Another example of being persevering. I love it. That's really beautiful, Ricardo. I really like that. I think there was another comment that says you can really see the texture in the painting. That is awesome. I think it's from the one that you showed previously. Thank you. That's from
Yes.
your mom again. That's really beautiful. I love it. That definitely is really good. And I love the story behind that image. So if I am, we kind of touched upon this a little bit. So if I'm someone who's interested in, getting a piece of, artwork from you, or, getting some video work done, or what is it that, how can I reach you, and what is it that people can do to get in touch with you if they want something done?
I do have a business email, and it's royalhawkstudios@gmail.com. And I can also respond to messages on Facebook as well. And we can talk about doing a painting, a commission. I do portraits, I do nature paintings, and I actually don't really do requests for a videography yet because I honestly don't feel confident in my skills in that avenue quite yet.
Okay.
I am working to build up my business for that, but that's just not in the works yet. So I'm very much focused on making making work for clients in illustrations and paintings and that sort.
So it's mainly illustrations and paintings that you're really doing right now. And you said, so wait, let me give you yet another comment that says, I love your self-portrait as well. Always look forward and walk in person that God has always called you to be. That's from, your mom said that again. That was great. Thank you for that. And then I'm going to put up here, for those of you who are interested, royalhawkstudios@gmail.com. And then I'll also share, I think can you share again your I think your website for people so they can come visit you.
Yes, my website is my name, ricardohawkins.com.
Okay, so it's ricardohawkins.com. That's pretty easy. Okay, so
Yeah.
I will also, I will share that again with everybody later in case you didn't see it, or you're watching this on the replay. I'll make sure that I add that information. So Ricardo, any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience before we go?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't really have much that I have to say. Um, I'm really slow to speak and slow to anger. So that's something that I've recently been dealing with, in terms of all the craziness that's happening in the world. People are always quick to comment on things and not put enough thought into what they're going to say and whether or not that will hurt people. And sorry, that just came out of nowhere, but I really want to encourage people to really take time and think about what they say, and think about what they post on Facebook, honestly.
That and with that is a very powerful thought, and a very powerful last and final comment, because you're absolutely correct. You're right. There are a lot of people who are reactive versus being responsive. They don't think before they speak. They don't think before they type. They just type without thinking about the repercussions of who they'll hurt, who they're impacting. It's just all about themselves. So with that, I'm going to say that was a very positive final thought. So yes, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Ricardo, and congratulations again for being tonight's honoree. We appreciate you. We see you. We value you. We honor you. Continue to do the great work. Continue persevering. Continue looking forward. Continue to paint. I'm so excited to see what you do next, and I'm looking forward. I'll keep having that visual image of you looking out the window forward, because it's a very powerful image, and the story behind it is also powerful. I'm looking forward to see how God continues to write your story, and it'll be epic, I'm sure. So
Yeah, I hope so.
oh, I promise it's going to be. I know it is. So, Lord, I just want to just say thank you all so much for joining us this evening on Living Today. This is your host, CEO, and founder of Irons Group LLC. And for those of you who are interested in taking or leading through crisis course, that's every Wednesday at 10 a.m. or at 1 p.m. via Zoom. Please hit the link on the Irons Group LLC Facebook page and just sign up for that class with yours truly. That's every Wednesday at either 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. Join me again Monday for Living Today, live at 5 p.m. with a interesting leadership topic. Not sure what we're going to be talking about yet, but we'll see. And then next Friday, we'll have our another Friday night young adult highlight. It'll be Miss Charlicia Harris. So join us then, or join us on Monday, whenever you decide. And as we love to say here, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Be safe out there. Love each other. Peace and blessings. Have an amazing weekend.